Alright, okay, so we have our slinky here, and we're going to use this to demonstrate the difference between a longitudinal wave and a shear wave. The longitudinal wave, the particle motion is in the same direction as the wave motion, like so. Try that again. You know, each of these curls of wire moves back and forth in the same direction as the direction of wave motion. In a shear wave, each of the coils, each of the particles moves transverse to the direction of wave motion, something like this. So it kind of makes sense to me that a shear wave would be slower than an L wave, because the particles in an L wave are moving in the same direction as the wave. Whereas in the shear wave, they're moving in, 90 degrees to the direction of wave motion. So intuitively, it kind of makes sense to me that a shear wave would be slower and, in most cases, half the speed of an L wave. All right, let's look at one more thing. All right, so, we have a transducer that produces a longitudinal or compression wave, and it makes sense to me that it would continue as a compression wave into the steel. But when you put it on a plastic wedge, the plastic has a slower velocity than the steel. It makes sense to me that that longitudinal wave would refract somewhat, because the speed in the steel is faster than the plastic, and when that wave hits the steel, it's going to go faster, and it makes intuitive sense to me that it would refract. And what did not make intuitive sense to me was the fact that it would also mode convert to a refracted shear. Why did it have to mode convert to a refracted shear? I never really understood why it would have to do that. One explanation that for years I accepted was just that in a solid material like that, a solid can support a shear wave, unlike a gas or a liquid. And so it does mode convert to a shear because it can vibrate as a shear, so it will. And that was the explanation that I had to go with for many years. And I asked many people why it would do that. Why did it mode convert? And I think in 2018 I was at a UT class at what used to be Kraut-Kramer in Lewistown, Pennsylvania, and a fellow in the class, Ron Torello, said, "Oh, I can explain why that refracts to a shear there. It's because it's steel, and all the molecules in there are in a lattice, and they're all connected to each other with very strong covalent bonds, or whatever the chemical bonding is there. And when the longitudinal wave hits these molecules and it bounces them out of position in this direction, they're connected to the molecules next to them, and that causes these to move sideways a little bit to take up the space that was vacated by this molecule. And that's what gets the shear wave going, the fact that they're all connected in a lattice. And now when I say it travels in shear because it can, well, this is what gets it going. The molecules want to move back into that position. All right, thanks a lot.